and it's just like, man, the people closest to you are going to have access enough to hurt you the most. And if that's the challenge of today, um it is hard, bro. It is a really, really tough decision being able to say, I still want this person in my life, despite the fact that I know that they take steps to intentionally harm me, right? And then they bring other people into my life to intentionally harm me. And it's so messy. And I don't even blame the person that I used to talk to, because, I could already tell that that person is captured by their emotions and they don't think things
Mm.
through. I'm also going to tell you another story about how I've learned that people just want to react, or they just want to be wrong, or I'm sorry, they don't want to be wrong. They would do whatever it takes to not look like they're wrong. And
Absolutely.
you have to walk them through that whole process of, this is wrong and it's okay to be wrong. We can move past being wrong, but just stop acting like this whole, like, your truth and my truth. I think that's a huge cop out. Oh, that's just your
Mm.
truth? That's fine. If you wanna use these words, that's fine. So, Emmanuel, how's it been since we've last spoken? How was life, love, and all that jazz?
Man, life is good. Love is love. You know what I'm saying? Love is love.
Oh,
Love right now is focus and attention, uh, really on self, man. In this mode of kind of repair, and also keeping things in perspective as far as the kids are concerned and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Um, and just navigating change. It's just a
mm,
lot of change. Schedules are still like there's a groove that needs to be found schedule wise with me, um and the pickup and the drop off of kids and all that, man, going through the divorce and all that. So just a lot of change, but at the end of the day, getting up one day at a time, just handling
mm,
it, not trying to look too far out in the future,
right.
but just focusing on the present and enjoying the moment.
I love that part that you said, not focusing too far, because we have so many reasons to kind of take us out of the present. And of course, when you're planning
Mhm.
life and you're dealing with all these different moving parts, you have to really be cognizant of the very near future, not so much the past, hopefully, but really focusing on how you can make whatever adjustments you need to make for the sake of your children, for your sake as well.
Yeah.
And um, what aspect of this is nourishing or being nourished by your spiritual walk these days?
Aspect of just
What
the
aspect of your adjusting to this new life, to the divorce, to,
Mhm.
co-parenting and all these different things, like, how much of it is being influenced, or how much of it is influencing, your personal spiritual walk? You know what I mean? Like, is it one of those things where, like, thank goodness that I'm being able to, meditate? Is it bringing you closer to whatever, you know what I mean, like, whatever religion? Is it taking you further away
Mm.
from religion because you're seeing, like, wow, people are really kind of dogmatic about their beliefs when it comes to X, Y, and Z?
Mm. Yeah, no, it's not. It's definitely not taking me away from any type of religion because I've already left the religious dogma of all the things. You know what I'm saying? Like, so really though, it had it had me questioning, was it all worth it?
Mm,
Because me, relinquishing Christianity, the hold that it had on me, really, and based in the hold that it had on me, based upon my upbringing, the way I was raised, was going to church every Sunday, sometimes twice on a Sunday, choir practice, Bible study, children's church, like Sunday school, all of that, man. And then like buying into it as a teenager for real, and taking it seriously and internalizing it, and then becoming a fanatic for Christianity, and then letting it all go. You know what I'm saying? Back in 2018, 2019-ish, like letting it all go and then seeing what all happened, right? Was it all worth it?
mm,
That's a question that I don't necessarily have a,
oof,
a fully fleshed out answer to, but I will say that in a time like this, I am more centered and more grounded than I've ever been, like in life when it comes to religion and or spirituality. And so I will say, the practices that I have and the books of knowledge that I go to are helping me stay centered throughout such a tumultuous time like this. So
I'm respecting
they're
that.
definitely like, yeah, directly related, intertwined, all that stuff, all that. So
It's
now
worth
it's
it.
like I'm living a life where like I never in my wild, like I knew from a child that I was going to be married and I was going to have children and I was going to enjoy raising my children and building up my family. And there was never uh, an imagination, a thought in my mind where I was like, in my wildest imagination, like, oh, I'm going to not raise my kids with their mother. I never thought that that would ever happen to me. Not because it was like something that only happened to other people, but like that just wasn't the vision for my life based upon how I was raised and what I was socialized to think is was this normal. And just what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
I don't want to not be with, the mother of my children.
Of course.
Like
And I
ideally,
don't
but it didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? So
and it's crazy because you took the steps to find a person that most
mm,
fit that dynamic, that most fit that that desire of yours to raise those children together
mhm,
with the church, with community, all of that you've made. I'm sure you took steps to say, no, this is the person that checks all the boxes because I want to do this forever. And so if this is the person
absolutely.
I'm going to be with, okay, we've had one, two, three children, and this is going to be the course of our lives. And once you start unraveling, or once you start seeing the world maybe for what it actually is, or the wool getting pulled over your eyes or whatever you want to call it. And again, this is like without a psychedelic experience, which still blows my mind that you're able to do and see all of these different aspects of life without that. I don't even want to call it a shortcut, but without that kind of like
Mm,
squeegee. You know what I mean? Like your third eye squeegee. You didn't even
mm,
get that. And you're still reaching these monumental moments of clarity and kind of seeing how um you're being controlled in a certain aspect. And man, I
mhm.
can't imagine how frustrating and how saddening that can be at times. And that is such a profound question. Was it worth it? As a man, you're thinking, even if whatever I'm going to do to keep my family together, let me just keep it together, or whatever I'm going to do to just make this thing work for the time being, or whatever it is. But in essence, you could see maybe part of yourself dying, or you could see you're not being your full self for your children because you're holding on to this kind of anger or this confusion about the world. And wow, man, more power to you. More power. Thank you
Yeah,
for sharing that because that is intense.
no doubt,
And I
bro.
love that. The price. Oh, I hope you write about that because that is a phenomenal topic to even discuss, man. In layers too, right? And not just
Mhm,
one or two blog posts or one or two posts on your Substack. That
mhm.
is deep. Um,
But at the end of the day, like we're here. Like this is what it is. And so even though I asked the question, I know the answer. The answer is yes. Do I like going through this process of, becoming and or unbecoming? The process is I can't even put it in words, bro. But this is what it is. And I know that ultimately I probably chose this like before I got here. You
mm,
know what I'm saying? Like this
right.
was this is a part of my destiny. So um and I just think there's a lot of things in my family that has happened or hasn't happened. And it's very clear to me that I was chosen to do certain things in my family, you know.
Mm,
And so I think this is just a part of that path. And I know who's next because it was revealed to me years ago. And so I am
the
doing
version
what
of you
I'm
who's
doing.
next.
I know who is next to be able to take the family line in a certain direction.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And that was revealed to me, you know, actually around that time, 2019, 2020ish, right? And so, and despite various circumstances that would have put in doubt, in other folks' mind, like, oh shoot, maybe that wasn't it. I still knew, and I never doubted, and here we are. And
Mm.
so everything is happening the way that it has been designed. And life wasn't meant to be easy. Life wasn't meant to be a
Oh,
comfort zone. Life wasn't meant to be,
oh,
go to sleep all day and wake up and feel comfortable and be warm and be happy and be unbothered. Like, life wasn't designed like that, because if we were, we wouldn't understand what good is. We wouldn't understand what, being unbothered is, if we were never bothered. Right. So this is a part of life, and I'm rolling with it, bro.
wow.
So
That
that's
bro,
what
that
it
made
is.
me emotional. Thank God for this, like, cheap ass camera because, like, that really did make me emotional, really kind of putting myself putting myself in that position of I'm not saying your world is crumbling. It definitely isn't crumbling because I don't think you're suffering, but I mean, you do have a level of
Oh, I'm
suffering
I'm
because
suffering. I'm
yeah, yeah,
suffering.
because of the emotional
There's no
spectrum. I
doubt
definitely
about that. Yeah,
but you're still walking, you know what I mean? Like, it's
yeah,
you're not broken kind of like on you're not on the ground in pieces.
yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
that is so powerful, man, and then when you think about this image that you've held for the majority of your life, honestly, still to this point until, until you're in your 50s or 60s, it was the majority of life that you wanted this image and you achieved this
Hmm.
image, or you kind of like made the plan, you stuck with the plan, and the plan was like, "Oh shit, no, this isn't what the life is gonna give you." And
Hmm.
to have to pivot, oh my gosh, that must be unbelievably painful. And that honestly, that really did make me emotional just thinking about your point of view and, you know, again, you're thinking about your progeny, you're thinking about even though your loved ones, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure there's still love for your ex-wife. There's so
Hmm.
much that you still have to unravel. And man, I again am so proud to bear witness to your development, man. Even since we were having our conversations about religion way back then.
Oh
And
my God.
it's so funny we constantly talk about this how how I'm like I'm getting closer to religion but with such a different perspective.
Hmm.
And it seems like you're kind of like moving away from it because you've been so engulfed in it. And that is terrifying. But at the same point, we're not here to be comfortable. And I have to learn that as well. That being a product of our environments doesn't mean we maintain that we maintain those lines or those that path, and really being able to divert and take the path less traveled is uncomfortable, man. um what does the community look like for you? Where does the support come from? I imagine because you were married, you're around other people that were married. And now that you're divorced, are you around other divorcees? Are you around other single people? Are you around spiritual people that have kind of moved away from religion and church? What does the community look like for you now?
It's crazy, bro. Like, I'm actually doing all the things that people tell you not to do. So I'm self
Uh,
I'm self isolating.
mm,
I don't want to be around anybody right now. Like, I just need to be to myself, in solitude, working. And I've seen, because I came up with a lot of cats that was married, and now a lot of my friends have gone through a divorce, right? And so still a good amount that are married, but still a good amount that have gone through a divorce. And so I've seen it play out. I've been living vicariously through my friends.
sure.
And it's like, some of them, just went straight into dating. Some of them didn't. Some of them, got a girlfriend. Some of them just, like, was just going through them. And it's just like, I'm just
Mm,
seeing the spectrum of, like, what can be done. What does that look like a year down the road, 2 years down the road? Not to project myself into somebody else's circumstance, but it is kind of a similar circumstance. And
sure.
so I looked at the scope of everything that was happening. I was like, you know what? I think what's best for me for right now is to go within, um, and to just really, like, have this time to myself, because right now it's like, in an odd way, in a painful way, it's an amazing opportunity to, like, really just do me. You know what I'm saying? Just, like, do all the things that you feel like you could do, or could have done, or should be doing if you had more time to
mm,
do it. You know what I'm saying? To be able to just live in loneliness and or solitude and or peace. It just depends on how you want to look at it. So it's like, man, what does peace look like? What does it look like when you're not bombarded with so many different opinions and people, everybody trying to tell you what to do or suggest, like, no suggestions, little to no suggestions, little to no opinions, just you, yourself, and God. That's it. What does that look like?
mm.
And what can you do in that environment, right? What can
Yes,
you master in that environment when you have nothing or no one that you're leaning on? What does that look like for you? And then when
right,
you come out of that, then when you replugging, I'm still around like coworkers, and I'm still
or
running,
right,
the business cohort that I'm running through my job. Like, I'm still interacting with a lot of people, going to events and all that. But then I just come home, and if my kids is not here, it's just me.
right.
And I'm just in my solitude. Some of the things I'm doing is not the most constructive. I might drink myself to sleep. Not in a crazy way, but I'll just, a little something, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, it's just my solitude, my peace. And I'm trying that out.
Speaking of peace, man, I learned this past weekend. It is not anyone else's responsibility to maintain my peace.
That's a
And
fact.
I've learned that when you hear people say, "Oh, this person is easily influenced," or that person follows the crowd and things like that, I never thought that it would be um, in situations that in situations that include you and a possible partner or an ex-partner or a lover or a girlfriend, whatever that is. Um, and it was so glaringly obvious. We spoke a little bit about this before I started recording, but I
Mm,
somebody from my past popped up in my life in the most it felt disrespectful way, really just literally just showing up, right? Not being announced, not announcing themselves, not giving me the option to either accept or reject their invitation. They just showed up. And I know it's because they knew how I would react to that, right? If I'm done with that aspect of our relationship, like I'm done with it. There's no reason to revisit it. That has run its course. So they took it upon themselves to interject themselves into my life. And the part of me that wanted to react is what takes away my peace. So I had to really sit down with myself and say, why do I want to curse this person out? Or why do I want to tell this person about themselves so much? Right. Uh And so again, there's a part that says, yo, you know what? I don't even want to engage with this person. I just want this person out of my life. But then that's liable to happen again. And there's a part of me that's realizing this person needs something that only I can provide for them. And if it's closure, if it's understanding, if it's they need to make an enemy out of me so that they can justify moving on and saying, oh, this guy is X, Y, and Z. So he's the bad guy. Finally, now that I know he's the bad guy, I can move on with my life. And
mhm,
I needed they just needed that in their life for whatever reason. And man, it was so difficult for me to do that. It was really difficult for me to sit here and say, not only am I going to not bring up the way that you disrespected my space and my privacy, but I'm also going to offer myself to you, offer my time and my attention to you again, in a way that is in a way that you can use it selfishly. I want nothing from you. There is nothing that I have to say to you, but I know that you need something from me. So let me give this to you so that you can go and do just go. Really, like I guess that was a selfish part for me too.
mm,
And during the conversation, I was I felt the emotions. I felt the fact that this person is just looking for something to hold on to. She's looking for something to say, "This guy did this to me, and I need my
mm,
pound of flesh."
mm,
And at the beginning, I wasn't willing to give that at all. I was so stoic. I was so almost apathetic to her feelings. and that
Mhm.
only made it worse, that only made the conversation longer, that only made all of these different things, and there was a point where I said, "Okay, I have to show hurt, I have to show pain, I have to show remorse just to give her whatever she needs so she can just go," and that part felt like it was it literally felt like a pound of flesh carved from the
Mm.
side to give to her, and I was just like, "Man, why do I have to do this?" But stop asking why, do what needs to be done, and move on with yourself.
Mm.
So, I did the whole humble thing. "Yo, you know what? My pain fueled my frustrations because of X, Y, and Z, and this is the reason why that, and this is that, and that," and that from that point,
Mm.
before it all got to that point, it was like a 30, 45 minute conversation. I was like, "I do not want to talk to this person anymore." And I don't know if it's because I've been meditating, or I don't know if it's because I'm really just trying to be in tune with that part of me that can separate from my ego. But that part of me said, just just give her that pound of flesh. So I really like I kind of switched gears and I said, "Hey, you know what? X, Y, and Z." It took 10 minutes. 10 minutes of that, boom, we were out of there. And that felt so liberating, even though it felt like it cost me something. You know what I mean? Not
So
just that
what did the pound of flesh consist of? Like, what does that mean?
it consisted of me being the one to blame. It consisted of me being the bad guy. It consisted of me,
Mm.
"Oh, well, my reaction to this was because I was feeling hurt because blah." I wasn't feeling hurt at all. I couldn't care less about any of these things that transpired over the last, like, year. But I
Mhm.
had to do that in order to give her the feeling of he was the bad guy, he did wrong. A perfect example of, um even no, that doesn't even matter. But I was really adamant about giving her what she needed, which was, making me the bad guy. Um,
Mm.
I was so hurt because you did that. Oh my gosh, you know what? I did that, and I see now that the reasons why I was doing this is because of my past and because I was projecting that on you, and I am so sorry because that's not true. That isn't true. I was dealing
Mm.
with somebody who didn't know how to converse and act without relying on their emotions. Her emotions were everything. And one thing that again, it's crazy I'm dropping his name, but Jesse Lee Peterson is somebody who I agree is a troll. And
It's very strange to hear. I'm not gonna lie.
it really
Like in
is,
a
especially when we're talking about love and
from a perspective of wisdom, it's like, all right, bro. Like
right. But
where are we going with this?
where God doesn't limit universe, divine spark, whatever it is, does
Absolutely,
not limit
absolutely.
our connection to wisdom to just
Mhm.
the people that are on the top of the mountain, right? Like you can find it
Facts.
anywhere. And that's one thing I've been appreciating about this journey of life that I've been on is I've been able to find so many kernels of wisdom in so many small places, in so many places that you would never even think of possible. But he taught me two things. He taught me, do not be a slave to your thoughts and to your emotions. And you hear that when it comes to Eastern philosophy and meditation and yoga and how important it is. But when he coupled that with, if you are a slave to your emotions, if you're a slave to anger, there is no difference between you and a murderer. Because at the end of the day, those emotions will take away your judicial sense and you will do things that come straight from your emotions. So whether it's you pick up a gun and shoot somebody, whether it's you've seen all these videos where somebody takes a car and they plow it into somebody else's car, or they drive into somebody else's house, or they do all of these different crazy things because of because of those moments of insanity. I don't even think it's insanity. It is literally a spirit of anger,
Rage.
bitterness, or rage taking over and
Absolutely.
saying, "Hey, you know what? This is a really good idea in this moment in time." So I identified that in the person that I was dealing with, but that person hadn't identified that in themselves yet. And I'm not here to tell you about yourself. I'm just here to see if I can work with you who you present yourself to be. And I came to that conclusion that I couldn't. But this person started popping up in my life, which I could already see is going to be a problem long term if I don't nip this in the bud sooner than later. So what does this person need from me? They need to vilify me so that they can move on with their narrative. I'm not here to try to correct them. I'm not here to try to give them game on how to be this or that or what their faults were. It's just, okay, if that's what you need from me, and it took me a while to realize that as well. If you need that from me, here it is. Here's your pound of flesh. Now, like, let's just be done with this. And hopefully we are, because it felt bad.
Mm.
It felt bad. Not only did it feel bad because I feel like I was doing something that wasn't like I that wasn't
That wasn't
it,
authentic to you. That's not how
it
you genuinely
didn't
felt.
feel authentic, but it felt righteous, right? Does that make sense?
Mm.
It didn't feel authentic to me in that I know what's going on in my head and I know what I see and I can tell you and I can verbalize the things that were going wrong in this situation and why it never led to a relationship. But that's not what's necessary right now. You can be happy or you can be right. I don't and I love being right. I love being right. But this is one of those situations where being right is going to lead to a better outcome for either of us. So instead, I tried to take the righteous approach and say, what does this person need? And if this person needs me to be the villain in their story, you got it. And
Well, you were tested, bro.
oh, boy,
You were tested, and we're always being tested. And so, um, it sounds like the test was, how do I diffuse this situation righteously?
mhm,
So now the next time this happens, because it will happen again, whether it be romantic relationship or any type of friendship, family, whatever the case might be, there's going to be a situation. Somebody's going to come to you. Da, 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 they might project. They might hold you accountable for some things that you may have forgot about. But there's going to be something that comes up, and then you're going to get tested. Am I going to resolve this righteously and authentically, or just
mm,
righteously? Because that's the next level,
talk about it, bro.
is resolving the conflict righteously and authentically.
That congruence, that like that connection
Absolutely.
between the two. Hmm.
So that you both walk away with getting what you want. Because right now it
Right,
just sounds like she walked away getting what she wanted. You gave her what she wanted, but she didn't necessarily word it in a way or present it in a way that gave you satisfaction as
right,
well. So that's the next test, or that's the next level to see, like, all right, I did it this way, I did it the righteous way, but it wasn't all the way authentic, or it wasn't all the way genuine. So how do I get to that authentic, genuine space, and delivering the information righteously?
right. Wow. And again, like you said, whether it's friends, I think that next step is going to be family for sure, for sure.
Hmm.
Um, because I'm dealing with something very similar with family, and I always say that it takes two. It really does. Like ideally, if you want to make any kind of situation work, it takes both people. It takes both parties putting in maximum effort to be able to get this thing either off the ground or out of the mud or in out of the rut that it was in, previously and, get the communication going. And I'm so okay with not. I'm so okay with just leaving it there and just ditching the car and sticking my thumb out on the side of the road and hitchhiking somewhere else. But I know
Hmm.
that's not what I'm here to do. I really do have to contact him and I really do have to find a resolution or at least a common ground for the both of us.
And that's
Oh,
and that's your cross. That's your cross to bear, because you have the awareness. And so those of us that have the awareness, is the responsibility is on us, to make things right. Because if we don't make things right, we are the obstruction. We're in the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, the
yes, sir.
person that is unaware, they don't know that they're in their own way, or that they're in the way of both of us. But we know exactly what they're doing and why they're in the way. And if we don't get them out the way, then we're in the way,
Right. Yeah, you're right.
because we're in it. And
Oh,
that's
man,
it's
get
heavy,
out.
bro.
Hear
It's
that tonight,
heavy.
bro. I don't wanna hear this tonight, man. This is supposed to
Hey,
be cool. Oh, I didn't mean for this to be a
nah,
therapy session
bro.
right here, man, but yeah, I think you're right.
It's real, bro.
Ooh, damn, man, you really bringing out something that I could tell it's touching me because of that reaction I'm feeling right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Mhm.
could tell that this is striking a chord, not with my mind, but with my heart, and that is something that I needed to hear, even though I didn't want to. So thank you, bro.
No doubt, bro. It's like those simple phrases. It's like we gotta live with them phrases for real. We gotta like live it out. Like if you know better, you should do better. You know what I'm saying?
Each one
And if you
teach one.
know better, then you have to do better.
Golly.
You know what I'm saying? But
Yes.
but not only you have to, but like we have the opportunity to. And that's
Right.
kind of what I'm saying, like with the whole,
Right.
you know, going back to my initial question that I kind of rhetorical question that I asked myself, like, is it worth it?
Mm.
But it's like I know better. Like I know that there is another way. I know that this whole thing that we're looking at when it comes to modern day Christianity coming from Roman Catholicism, what's been presented to us here in the so-called West, come on, man. Like that
Right.
it's not what they've presented to us. Literally, it's not.
This is not
And
what Jesus
when
was
you
doing.
know,
This
yeah,
isn't his moves. Right.
yeah, y'all, you and your people were not destined for this. You know,
Mhm.
this was a test, and now we must push through the test. And if you know better, you're supposed to do better.
Right.
And if you in it and you have the opportunity, like it's an opportunity though. Like I have an opportunity to operate with clarity and not feel shackled and in fear of going against something that I didn't really know to be true, but it's been imposed on me that is true. And so now I'm being led by fear.
Right.
Fear of speaking up, fear of even thinking something outside of the status quo, fear of the group turning on me because I question something. Like we are not built to live in fear like that.
Fear
You know
at
what I'm
all.
saying?
God did not give us fear. We do not have a spirit of
Absolutely.
fear, and that fear
Absolutely.
is clouding everything. That fear that yeah, that fear really is. Whether it's a fear of having to really confront somebody who, oh man, yeah, um, and maybe I have that myself, right? I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose this sense of what I think I have, and um, even holding on to like uh, maybe I've made him the villain. My brother. Anyway, I didn't mean to just like talk like that, but yeah, you're right. You're right. It is. It is both. It's twofold. It is twofold. I need to give forgiveness and I need to be forgiven. And that spirit of fear is really real. And I don't know in what way I have it, but I know I do have it because hearing what you're saying about the steps I need to take is
Mhm.
creating it feels like it's pushing against something that's inside of me. And it's just like, no, no,
Mhm.
no, this other thing is trying to fight for control. And it's like, oh, I've identified you now. Oh, you're the little gremlin that's creeping around, mucking up my house. So I have to get you out of here. And that, it could be the ego, it could be whatever it is preventing me from living without fear.
Yeah.
And this is one of those exercises as well. So much of my again, I was thinking about that church sermon that I was listening to by JPL, and that there's so much fear surrounded. I had a video last week that I wanted to drop, um, because somebody gave me a really interesting question about disappointment and why is disappointment such a driving force for me. And let me tell you that that is something that could be harming a lot of my connections. Not all of my connections, but a lot of them, especially when it comes to dating and romantic situations, because there is this version of me that people see, and sometimes I may not see that. And I would rather burst that bubble of theirs sooner than later so that we can get to the quote unquote real version of me, right? So it's like, yo,
Mhm.
you have me up here, but I have me over here. So let's meet over here and let's move on from that. And it's just like, yo, why are you
Mhm.
trying to burst? why are you trying to burst that person's bubble for what? And I think it's because of that fear of
Mhm.
disappointment. I really do have that fear of disappointment, and whether it's because I've always looked for the validation from my mother, or whatever it is, there is truly a fear around that. And I didn't drop that episode last week, and I have it ready to go. I have it in. It's right there. It was just me, just talking to the camera. But I don't
Mhm.
know if I didn't drop it right after I recorded it, it was gonna be really that fear starts creeping in and it starts building, and the longer you take, the more fear gets accumulated, and then you start thinking about it, and, um, yeah, so I went a whole week without, producing content, and it is directly related to that fear that I had, and I am trying to get over that, and this podcast is one of those, endeavors. This podcast, especially dropping it weekly, especially talking about something that is so tumultuous in my life, right? Love and
Mhm.
relationships isn't something that's easy for me. It isn't something that I'm good at. It's definitely something that I'm looking to improve upon, and
Mhm.
bringing you on for this ride as well. You're my coach sometimes, and you're my co-captain other times. You're the leader in other times, and uh wow, you have given me something to think about, and it is all being propagated by fear. And I'm learning as well that a lot of the things that we are doing when it comes to dating, I'm learning that we are so surrounded by want and by the desire to get all the things that we want that we forget
Mhm.
to ask who is doing all of this wanting, right? When it comes to dating, I've been talking to a lot of people who they want safety or they want security. So that means that they want their partner, me potentially, to provide this life for them. And regardless of what they do, regardless of the resources that they accumulate or the job that they have or the career that they have, they want me to be that foundational safety net for their life. And that is one of their non-negotiables. That's one of their requirements for a relationship. And now I'm starting to ask, I asked myself this yesterday, where is that ask coming from? Do you
Mhm.
think God is giving you that ask, or is that just coming from whatever you've seen on TV, or is that just coming from what you think life should be? Because at the end of the day, if you're going to be with somebody and it's going to be divinely guided, again, I use God with a lowercase g, whatever you call it. You know what I'm saying? You call it earth, you call it Pachamama, you can call it the universe, any of those things. Um, who are we to tell them what our plans are, what we want? And so I also feel this kind of um, unbalance or confusion when it comes to what I think is real soul power, which is the power to manifest the life that you want to live, um, and submitting yourself to that higher divine part of yourself that says, I release myself from my wants and I subject myself to the desires of my higher self, and you lead me.
Mhm.
There's an incongruence between those two, and I'm learning that before we start manifesting, we have to make sure that the ego is in check. We have to make sure that the thoughts are in check. And so it starts from like clearing everything that's in here before we start going forward towards what we want. Because what we want is like the lower self. And we're not incorporating what the higher self may want. And
Mhm.
what do you does that jive with you? Do you find that you disagree with that or you agree with that? Talk to me.
No, I agree. And in addition to that, it's like, well, yeah, I agree, bro. Like that's pretty much what we're dealing with, and I think everything is a like the wants and the desires and the so-called cravings and all that. It's all a test.
Mm,
We're being tested, right? And to pass the test, we have to be able to break through that threshold of the thing that we think is impossible or the thing that we can't go without. And then
mhm.
we go without it. And then we look up and we're like, oh shit, that really wasn't what it was cracked up to be.
Right,
All
right.
right, what's next? What's next? And then you keep going. and then you just keep passing through this level on level on level. And I think that's just the beautiful thing of life. But it's a journey, right? And it's a part of the journey, and it's laid out for everybody. And we all have an opportunity to pass those different thresholds, but we have to go through the wants and the desires and the appetite.
And by
Are
go
we going to
through,
be
you
led?
mean sacrifice those, kind of like put those at the altar and say, I release myself from those, or we have to fill all of the wants and desires to actually know that that's not what we want and desire.
Not necessarily feel. I don't think you feel it, but it's just like you have to acknowledge it, and you have to find that place of detaching yourself from it, because like everything that we do, so-called religion or spirituality, is really just a means of being reconnected to the source.
Mhm.
And I just think, the earth is a test, man. Like, this is a test, and it's a game, and it's something that we signed up for. And we spawned into the game. It's like, I want to play it in this era.
Right.
I want to be in this part of the country. All right, put me over there. All right, bet.
What
I
level was
bet
that?
you I
Yeah,
can.
I
You know what
want
I'm
I want I
saying?
want that level.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I want that. I want that. In that, now some of us chose it. Some of us was like, "Hey, bro, this is all we got for you. Like,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, but this is it. Like, damn, I gotta go. Yep, you do. Yep.
Okay,
Because with
okay.
the last time I gave you that, and you fucked it up, and
Mm.
so unfortunately you're gonna come back now, and these are your parents. I really don't want them. These are your parents. These are your brothers and sisters. And
Mm,
now you thought you was the one back in. Now we gonna see. You know what I'm saying? And so it's all a experience, man. And
mm.
we're gonna do it again. If we don't get it right
Right,
here. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So
And
yeah,
remembering that play aspect of all of this is super important too.
yeah.
Two things that you said that really resonated with me is like, remembering that this is a game.
Hmm.
Uh, and the second part was I already forgot it, but I think it was something to do with um, oh, damn, I really did forget it. One of the part was it's a game, and the other part, at least what it triggered in me is there is something that needs to be done in order to either rid yourself of the karma or move through this life with the experiences that this life has to offer for you. And I think
Hmm.
I am one thing that you said is like one thing that you triggered in my mind was I think that um this podcast about love and relationship and me going on pop the balloon and me doing all of these different things when it comes to like finding a partner and finding love, that could have been my subconscious attempt to try to get closer to source, right? Because I think I
Hmm.
could bring if I could come in union with somebody and elevate both of us, we will both be closer to our divine selves, or we will both be closer to our authentic selves. And I can't look for that love outside of me. I can't. We're here to
Hmm.
do this again. When it comes to your solitude, that is where the love has to be found first. And of course, I have love for myself. I have love for everything that I do, and I think that that brings people closer to me, or that is something that people can see and resonate with. But I really have to do this work and be okay with doing it by myself, because the more I look for something, the less I'm going to have it. As soon as I release myself from it and say, okay, well, you know what, that's not for me, that's when I get it. Right, like that seems to
Hmm.
be a constant in the universe, is whatever you're chasing you'll never get. And instead of chasing, start to attract, and don't attract it from the outside in, but attract it by having the same resonance from within that brings it over to you. You know what I mean? So if I'm trying to attract greatness or I'm trying to attract wealth, be wealthy. Be wealthy in here first. And some way, somehow,
Absolutely.
leave it up to the universe to figure out how to manifest that in this kind of like third dimensional reality, space and time. You feel me?
Mhm. And
Oh,
it be them cliches. If you build it, they will come. You know what I'm
all that.
saying?
Good point. And that's what this
You
podcast
just
is.
build it. You build it within yourself, and then whoever is
And
supposed
release
to be.
yourself from the result. Build it and just focus on building it, and don't focus on what targets you wanna have or who you wanna reach or what milestones. Just keep building. And,
Yeah,
hmm,
and
wow,
then
bro.
tap. Hone in, tap into that frequency, and everybody else, anybody else that is on, 97.9, they're gonna be tapped in, and they're gonna be right there with you. You're like, okay, okay, he on 97.9. Okay, yeah, I see
Oh,
you.
I love that frequency. Let's rock. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
I think I got caught up. I got caught up in, uh I did get caught up. We had momentum in that space, and I had momentum, and I got caught up with kind of like the trinkets that may come with building, right? Because when you start
Mm.
building, people start noticing, and other people want to, either they want to share in it, or they want to support it, or they want a piece of it, or they want you to stop it because you're doing something that they want to do, but they can't do it. So they want to distract you, or they want to put obstacles in your way. And I think those aspects have been distracting me from steadily pushing forward and making this thing that I'd like to do, or the thing that is within me that urges to come out, a reality. There's a motivational speaker, James. Is it James Monroe, or is it no? I know
Miles
I
Miles
know there's a
Monroe.
Miles Monroe, but he's more of a religious person. This person is a kind of like in the
Mhm.
90s, older black guy. Um, oh, but I remember him saying
Les
something that
Brown.
Les Brown, thank you. What did I say?
Okay, yeah,
James James Brown.
James Monroe.
Les Brown, thank you, thank you. But
Okay.
Les always said something to me that really resonated, and I really take that seriously. And he said, "The ideas that came to you, they hope that they had all of the faith that you would bring them into this reality, right? They don't exist
Absolutely.
here yet. And they came to
Mhm.
you saying, please give me life. Please bring me into this space. And on your deathbed, I don't want to be surrounded by all of those ideas and those dreams that said, I trusted. I'm even getting emotional just talking about it right now, man. But he was
Mm.
like, yeah, I don't personally, I don't want those ideas to die with me. I want them to be able to see whatever life that they have, even if it's momentary. I want to give them that. And I have to remember that. And having a cadence like this, and having people like this in my life, you particularly, being able to hear Les Brown years ago and still have that um, understanding or that conviction to getting out our dreams, right? Good music. Uh,
Mhm.
right? It's always about Kanye for me. Like that's people call them Hovengers. I'm a Ye Avenger, bro. And I
That's a
really
fact.
am. Oh,
I can attest to that. That's a fact.
thank you. Since I've been
Yeah.
a Ye Avenger since, bro.
Yeah.
Since. So
Undisputed.
I am pleasantly surprised by how much I am enjoying this conversation and how personal it is. And hopefully that this is giving value to other people, because at the end of the day,
Bro, what was on the docket, bro?
honestly, we kinda covered it because it was, where do we go from
Okay.
here? Really, like,
Okay.
where do we go from these kinds of, like, frustrations when it comes to family, frustrations when it comes to the ends of relationships, frustrations when it comes to incompatibility, when it comes to, partners, or the potentiality that you kinda see dwindling, right? You can see somebody that you've been married to for 10 years, or you can see somebody that you've been vibing with for a week, and when that ends, for whatever reason, shit sucks, and you start to realize that I'm I may be grasping onto something that I didn't have within myself, right? So let me take a step back and make sure that it's coming from within first. So let me be in this solitude, because before that person was here, I was in this solitude, and that is what attracted this person to me. And for whatever reason, I got distracted from that, and that took me out of myself. And it seems like the universe goes, up. Now you lose that because you didn't stay focused on what brought those gifts, what brought those people, what brought those inspirations to you. So now
Mhm.
start focusing again, and we're gonna try this level again. And that, yo, you're going back to level one. So focus on being solitary. Okay, now you're solitary. Now you're good.
Bro,
Now let's raise your level or whatever.
I run this by you, bro, because
Please,
because
man.
because peace, a man's peace is it's our choice. We have to choose peace, man. And I'm doing that right. So there's this young lady, this woman, man. It's like it's, and I'm choosing peace, bro, because I'm so tired of this back and forth. It's happened a few times the past couple months. So basically, it's just is one young lady, man. She shows interest. She shows all the signs. She acts all interested, and then I'm just really kind of like, all right, whatever. But then the moment that I return the interest, she play me like she don't want to give me the time of day. She don't, like whatever, like acting like, oh, why you like you was
Yeah,
acting
get off.
all like familiar for the past 3-4 months. All right, cool. So you wanna act like that when I'm actually giving you rhythm? Cool. And then she'll double back and then try to pick up where I left off and continue what I was. I'm like, so now you want it? I'm like, don't. And then I hit her with the business casual, response, and she's like, oh, okay. Like, why do women do that? And this is not the first one. And I'm just like, why do they be trying to like suck the energy out of you and that back and forth? Now, obviously, I've been out the game for a long time. I was married for 13 years, basically with the same woman for the past 16 years. So I'm not even in the game. I'm choosing peace, man. But it's a few of them that's playing this energy game, bro. And I'm like, I'm good on all of that. What is that, bro?
I would say two things. One is Patrice O'Neill, something I got from The Godfather, but the other one is how how seriously are you playing back, right? Now, if you're
Mm,
giving her rhythm, are you giving her rhythm to see where it goes? Because sometimes it could just be play, and let it just
mm,
be play and divorce yourself from the end result. So Patrice
mm,
said something to me that out to me. So Patrice said something. He was like, "Look, I'm more." He was like, "If I woke up with $10,000 in my pocket every day, and I'm walking around," and he was like, he's like, "A woman's sexual avail or viability or sexual like attractiveness is the
mm,
equivalent loosely to a man having to a man waking up with $10,000, $1,000,000, $10,000,000, whatever number you want to call it." But
mm,
he goes, "Look, I'm quick to give my $10,000 away because I'm better than my $10,000." You know what I'm saying?
mm,
So my energy,
mm,
first of all, it's not my energy to give. This energy is divinely inspired. So this energy is
mm,
working through me. I didn't create it. I'm not it's not beholden to me. So if you want some of this, take some of my energy because I have more energy to give. I have unlimited energy. So you're never going to come to me and I'm going to be like, "Well, you've taken too much of my energy. I got to save it." For what? I'm a man of abundance. So my energy is unlimited. Take my energy, yo. You want to have a conversation with me? Let's
mm,
play. Oh, you done with that? Fine. But I'm divorcing myself from I'm more than my energy. I'm more than whatever time you're taking from me. So if I'm talking to you on the phone with you for 2 hours, for 10 hours, take my energy, it's cool. But I'm learning about myself, I'm learning about you, and I'm also reminding myself that this is play. So let me remember the play and just play in the moment. Okay, cool. And when I don't have time to play, I'm not going to play. But I'm not going to let
mm,
you dictate or affect how I play with my energy. I can play with you the same way I can play with somebody else, and you're gonna have to show me that um, you want more of my energy by doing whatever it takes to get more of my energy.
mm,
So while there is that reception and giving, electricity, magnetism kind of thing. Somebody said something that was really interesting to me. He said, Mother do you know why they call Earth Mother Earth and Time Father Time?" And it's like Mother Earth is the reception is the like Mother Earth receives the seed. Not Father Time, but God the Father. God the Father gives Mother Earth the seed, and Mother Earth nurtures that seed. Mother Earth cannot generate the seed, but she can nurture the seed and make the world a beautiful place. But she needs that seed from the Father. And
mm,
the men, we have unlimited seeds, man. We have seeds You know what I mean? Like we have a bounty of seed. So it's the same way in that energy. Don't let them move you off your square because your square should be both play and an abundance of energy. So I can give you a
Mm,
little bit, but I'm not gonna focus it all on you because you're giving me some of your attention and you want my energy because who wouldn't want my energy, right? But I'm gonna make sure that you know that this isn't there's an abundance and I'm not dealing with lack. So when you give me energy and rhythm and we're bouncing, we're vibing back and forth, I'm disconnecting myself from the end result because I know what I'm doing and what I want for myself right now. And if you're not
mm,
involved in that or if you're not contributing to that, then I'll give you a little bit of energy and I'm gone. Okay, cool. Here's my
mm.
$10,000. Bye. I got another coming, in a couple of hours, so I'm good. Does that make sense?
That makes a ton of sense, and it also makes a ton of sense to me. It's abundantly clear to me that I'm not playing that way, and I'm not playing that way because I'm in like protection mode because
Mm.
I'm a open wound right now, and so
Mm.
like normally that wouldn't bother me, you know what I'm saying? But like because I'm in such protection mode and there's so many other things that's going on with me emotionally and psychologically, it's just like, yo, this is the last thing I need in my life. Is because once again, I've seen my partners go through it. Some of them responded well to it. Some of them did not respond well. And even dudes that I'm not even close to like that, pause. Like I just see that you're divorced and you try to get out there and play the game and give your energy away to and it's just like where you at
Mhm,
years later. And I
mhm,
I I mean literally like seeing dudes homeless. You know what I'm saying? Like lose that anchor and that credential and that whatever, that consistency of a spouse, and then just go out in the world and just kind of lose direction because you're like you here,
mhm.
you there, you this, that, and it's like I understand what Patrice O'Neal's saying. You got unlimited energy, more power to him. I know me, and I know that I do not have an abundance right now because I'm an open wound, and I'm still healing. So, but I do want to get to that level because that's a divine level that he's operating from, and I'm working on it. I'm definitely
Yo,
working on
just reconnect to your bank account, man. Reconnect,
it. Yeah,
fake it till you make it, brother. I'm not saying just start giving away energy, but first start,
yeah,
in your mind, reconnecting with that, yo, abundance. Yo, I got the energy to give. I can choose to give it, or I could choose not to give it, but I still have it to give. And,
absolutely.
I think that's a great place to start. And, yeah, thank you for asking such a beautiful question. Thank you for honoring me, um, by asking me that, man, because I think that
No doubt.
wasn't answered by me, it was answered through me.
No, I appreciate you, bro. I gotta tap into Patrice O'Neal, man. You've been referencing him since since we met, bro. So I know you.
Please,
I know that's
bro.
your guy. I know that's your guy, man. I'm a
Please,
tap in.
bro. Wow, this is opening myself up and just, like, letting I love this, man. I love this, bro. This is one for the books for
Likewise,
sure.
bro.
This
Yes, sir.
was this right here, bro, this episode in particular, this hit home, and I am a better man for it, for sure, yo. I thank
That's
you.
dope.
Again, brother. Thank you so very much, yo,
Appreciate
and
you,
I'm
man.
gonna
You
do
you
this
made
every
the space, man. I'm glad to step into the space, bro.
for sure, man.
Yes,
I
sir.
look forward to dropping this sooner than later. Well, this is coming out ASAP. Like I am
Yeah,
going to work, journaling, and immediately working on getting this. Forget everything else I got going because this needs to be seen. This needs to be heard.
straight up.
Uh, drop your socials. Let them know where to reach you.
Yeah, I only download Instagram on the weekends, but Emmanuel did Emmanuel did on Instagram. And then subscribe to my Substack, Emmanuel did.substack.com.
Very, very great.
Love you, bro. Peace.
My